Welcome back, everybody, to episode 33 of the Triathlon Preview Show.
Hello.
So we're back for another weekend of exciting racing. We got a couple races across the country this weekend. We also got one over in Europe, so we'll preview those three races. Let's see, do we have any stuff from last week left? Don't think so.
I couldn't find in my notes. Did we do any picks last week or no? I don't think we did.
No. We threw out a couple names as far as I remember, like the Brownlees and the Gomez's. Obviously,
Yeah.
Gomez dropped out off the list after we did the show, so we didn't know
Exactly.
that. But no, we didn't do any official picks last week. I don't think.
Yeah, and I mean, we can just talk about Frankfurt real quick. I mean, Danielle Reef kind of suffered from some hypothermia. It was a non-wetsuit swim for the pros. Got on her bike and was freezing cold, and the air was cold, and didn't finish. So she did another Ironman to validate her Kona slot, which kind of stinks. But maybe she put herself on the list for Ironman Switzerland, and she'll race at home or something.
Yeah, and then Mel ended up winning, and then I saw that she got a 4-minute penalty for switching shoes at special needs, and something like she got prior authorization, or they said it wouldn't be a penalty, but then they penalized her later. I don't know if that got resolved after the race. Obviously, it didn't have an impact on the outcome of the race, though.
That's just crazy to me that you can't, like, if you can put warm clothes, say, in your special needs bag for the run in case like it's a cold race and it starts raining or something, why couldn't you switch your shoes? I mean, it's completely up to you if you want to stop and change your shoes, right? I've heard of people doing that in the past because your shoes can get all wet from, aid stations and stuff. I was just shocked that that was a penalty.
Yeah, I think it was just the official on the course was totally being a dumbass, basically, and had no idea what he was doing. Because like she double checked before the race, and like you said, I mean, new socks. People put new socks on all the time. New clothes, cold races, hot. I mean, whatever. And there's no issue. So yeah.
I mean, it seems to me if you can fit it in your bag and you want to stop and take care of it, you can do it. I mean, obviously you can't put like a motor in your bag, but I mean, like that just makes sense to me that you would
Yeah,
put
an
a pair of
additional
shoes.
battery in your bike special needs bag.
Yeah, for your motor, for your Gruber assist. We're kidding, people. Jokes.
All right, well let's start previewing some races. We'll start over on the West Coast. We got Vineman 70.3. So Emily's used to this race, so give us a little information on that course.
Yeah, so it's a one loop river swim. There's no current. It's kind of a dammed up river, but there is kind of flow through, so it's not super warm as you would think, and the nights are cool here, so the water temperature kind of will heat up during the day and then drop 6 or 8 degrees at night. And we've had some cooler nights as of late and some cooler days. So it'll be touch and go on the wetsuit situation for the pros. The last few years I've done it, it's been wetsuit legal. I think I've done it one time so far where we've had a wetsuit, or it's been non-wetsuit. So we'll just have to wait and see race morning on that. The bike is just a one loop kind of point to point, has a small, I would say slightly technical section in the beginning, some kind of hills with some turns and stuff, but nothing crazy. Then a flatter section, a little false flat, and you go into another valley, flatter section. The big climb of the day comes at about mile 42, Chalk Hill, and then down over and down into the flats. So it's a quick course, and it mixes it up on the muscles, so it's not all of one thing. So it's great. And then the run is a big one loop, and it can heat up if the sun comes out, and it goes through some vineyards and such. Hence the name, Vineman.
All right, so a little start list update. We have 3 confirmed out as of now. Luke Bell on the men's side, and then Meredith Kessler and Hella Fredrickson are both out on the women's side.
Yeah, so we're going to have a new champion on the women's side. And we have some good people racing. I guess
Yes. We'll start with the women then, right off the back then.
Yeah, so I mean, you got Caroline Steffen, who she came up for Oceanside, and I guess she liked California so much, decided to come and check out Northern California. So she was second at Oceanside, and I'm sure she's strong and, you know, throughout all three disciplines. So she's one of my favorites to take the win. I think she'll be challenged by Annabelle Luxford, and then, of course, Holly Lawrence, who's been on quite a roll as of late.
Yeah, Holly has been tearing up the scene lately. So it'll be interesting to see if she can keep that momentum going, or if maybe she's a little tired from all those hard efforts in the last couple months.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that could happen. But I think this might be like one last race on, and then she's going to take a break and gear up for Malulaba the Worlds. Um, I mean, shit. Even if she has like a slightly off day, the way she dominated Mont Tremblant, like she could still win, right?
yeah, she's definitely been beating some big names and putting down some good performances, time wise too. So yeah, I mean, a slightly off day for her this year could still be a win.
Yeah, I think when you look at the start list, like obviously Lauren Brandon's probably going to be your leader out of the water, and she's not afraid to try to take it up the road. You have Jen Spielander. I hope to be near the front out of the water, and then I'll just do my thing on the bike. And then you have like someone like Jody Robertson and Lisa Roberts, who were 2 and 3 at Ironman Texas. They're going to come out behind, but they're going to be moving through the field, especially like the later stages on the run. I mean, what do you think? Like, do you think Jody Robertson could run her way up to like third or fourth, or is she not going to have enough real estate to get that done with the really strong swimmers that are in this field?
I think, uh, saying that nobody else drops off the start list, I think the quality of the field here, and then only being a 70.3, that her, Jody Robertson, and Lisa Roberts will not be able to make up as much, obviously, as they can in an Ironman marathon. Um, but yeah, I mean, just because of the swimmers, and then Lauren Brandon, she is a good 70.3 athlete. I mean, she can power through a 70.3. She's done before and finished on some podiums. And like you said, there's Stefan, there's Annabelle Luxford's racing, Holly Lawrence. So I just feel like the 70.3 field here is a much better field than like Jody raced in Galveston, where she ran onto the podium.
Right. Like she just was dealing with like you just had Sarah Haskins kind of
Yeah,
out in front and
exactly.
Sarah was by herself. But like at this race, you're probably going to have like Holly and Stefan and Annabelle Luxford, all three of them out in front, kind of pushing the pace. And that might like
Yeah.
up the gap, I guess, a little bit because they're not going to be riding alone. They're going to be fighting amongst each other. And I mean, they can still run. I mean, if they run a 125, like it's going to be, Jody Robertson would have to put down like what, like a 118 or 119 to really make some huge inroads. That's fast. I think she ran a 120 in Galveston. So, I mean, this is a hillier course, but
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she got on the podium with what she's performed this year so far. I mean, I think Galveston and Texas, Ironman Texas, has been a great performances for her. So I would not be surprised. But just from my initial looking at the list, I think there's just going to be more athletes up the road. So those athletes are all going to be pushing each other. So there might not be a huge drop off.
right. Yeah. And I mean, even if, Holly Lawrence runs a 124, I mean, Holly Lawrence very well could have 6 minutes on her out of the swim. So even if they bike the same, like she might not be able to get up to her and have to run a 118. Like I'm just kind of doing a little math,
Yeah.
you
What
know?
I'm looking for this time around between her, from Lisa and Jody, would be their biking ability. I think they both have good biking ability, but at Ironman Texas, they didn't show it. It was really their run that led them to their podium performances. I mean, Lisa's um, puts down some bike course records, and Jody has, I think she had a pretty good bike at Galveston,
She
but
outbiked Sarah Haskins, I think,
yeah.
actually.
So what I'm saying is Ironman Texas, they didn't have a bike, like they didn't have a top 5 bikes. So to see where their bikes come out, are they going to have top 5 bikes here? If they
Oh,
have
okay.
a one, if they're 1-2 bike splits, they're obviously going to make up some time, and then they won't have to make up 6 minutes. They might only have to make up 4 minutes.
Right.
So we'll see that, we'll see where that comes into play. And I don't know where their end games are either too. Are they training for a later Ironman in the end of July or beginning of August? I'm not sure where their points stand, but I'm thinking that both of them need another race for Kona.
I think Jody is on the list for Lake Placid, and she's also on the list for Racine next weekend. So I don't know if she's doing like a double, racing that like it's all part of training or whatever. But you're right. Like at Ironman Texas, they had really solid bikes, but they didn't make up a ton of time on the bike. But that might have been their whole thing because of the heat. I mean, here
Yes,
they don't
definitely.
have the heat, but it is a 70.3, and you have some like heavy 70.3 athletes at this race, and like this is what they do, like bike 56 miles, like balls to the walls.
Yeah, I mean that's
So
what Stefan's focusing on this year, right? Hers is 70.3 worlds or bust. She's not doing Kona, and then obviously Holly Lawrence is a 70.3 specialist. So I mean I think with Hella and Meredith off the list, I think it opens things up a little bit more, because instead of having 5 or 6, top names, now you only have 3 or 4, but the field's still pretty stacked on the women's side.
right, like it might be a little more individual racing if people kind of split up a teeny bit on the bike, which could happen. There are some rolling hills and some flat sections, so things change out there for sure. And I mean,
Go ahead.
go ahead. No, you go.
I was gonna say, what about further down the list? Anybody that you're interested down there that might be a play later?
I mean, number 62, Sky, she was 5th at Coeur d'Alene, and she ran her way onto the podium at St. George. She was 10th. So she's a solid athlete. Not a real great swimmer, so she'll have some time to make up, but she might be someone who kind of moves into the top 10. I mean, Jen Spielander, it's not going to be quite as hot here, so that's good for her. She's been doing a training camp in Flagstaff. She'll be out of the water near the front, and she's not one to easily slip back on the bike. Like, she's going to fight the whole way. And Rachel McBride too is on the list. She's coming back from her injuries, kind of did a first race at Victoria 70.3. It was just a consistent race. I don't think she really like totally pushed herself. So I think maybe this time she'll take some more chances on the bike, and she knows this course. So she might be someone who's, in the mix as well.
Yeah. So we'll see how it plays out. I mean, and anything can happen. More people can fall off the start list. Obviously, we don't know everything, so we're just going off of what we hear and what we know.
Yep. All right. How about the men? There's a bunch of guys on this list who have won here.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. What, six champions or something?
Yeah, well, I think Luke Bell's not on there anymore, but
Okay.
Sam Appleton's won, Craig has won, Tim Reed, Terenzo, and Andy have all won here. I couldn't figure out from Terenzo's Instagram, or even I checked the Bahrain 13 team. I couldn't figure out if he's for sure coming, but if he is, like, he'll be someone to contend with, that's for sure.
I mean, I'm looking for Sam. I don't think he's had a breakout race yet this year. And last year, I think this was kind of his breakout race in the United States last year, right? This was kind of, he did good overseas at the beginning of the year, and then came over here, and this was kind of his race that he won last year. So I'm kind of to see where he is. I think he took 3rd at Boulder.
Oh, no. Did he do Boulder?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Oh, I couldn't remember, but I do remember he did Chattanooga, and he rode kind of like within a minute or even less of Sebastian. So he's not afraid to lay it out there on the bike. And I believe here last year, he kind of rode away from the pack. So he's got, good memories of this course, and I'm sure he's excited to try and repeat. So I would look out for him too. I mean, he's definitely one of my picks for the win. Definitely a podium. Andy Potts was solid in Coeur d'Alene. He's probably coming into fitness. He's doing, Whistler at the end of at the end of this month, so I'm sure he's fit. Um, and you know, it's a good this is a good race for him. Is It's a strongman's race. There you got to have some strength here. There's some hills. Um, I mean, Andy's a good athlete and he's really strong. So I would look out for him too. I can't figure out if Tim Don's going to be here either, but he's someone to look out for if he is. And then Tim Reed, I know he's here, and I'm sure he wants to do well. He's been training in Bend. So the question is, has he gotten too excited with his training, and is he going to be fresh enough?
Yeah, Craig Alexander too. I mean, he's getting older by the day, but he's been tearing up the what do you Pacific, I don't know what you call that region, the Asia Pacific region lately.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been basically handing people the win. I mean, he's been killing it lately over there. So coming over to, I think, a little more competition in this race. We'll see how he does. But yeah, Sam did take third and Boulder behind Joe
Okay.
and Chris.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that now. I remember he was running with at the front at first, and then Joe was able to kind of gap him. Now I remember that totally. I forgot. I mean, and you have someone like Chris Beard, who's local. He'll be a little bit behind out of the swim, but I mean, he had the fastest bike split at Lanzarote, and he's a really good runner. So he's someone that's going to kind of come through the field. Again, Steve Mantell, um, number 19. This is his first year as a pro, and he's been, doing really well, like finishing up there. I think he was ninth in Boulder or something like that. So, I mean, he's right in there. I'm pretty sure Justin Metzler is not starting. He's doing Racine. So Jake Montgomery, Australian, he'll be out of the water near the front. He did pretty well here last year. I believe he was in the 8th maybe or something like that. So there's some good people who might kind of shake things up too, besides like your normal names that you look for.
Sorry, I'm just looking through the list real fast.
Yeah. Ben Hoffman.
Yeah, Ben Hoffman. We've mentioned Cameron a couple times, but really haven't seen too much out of him.
Oh, Cam Worf.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good bike split at he did Cairns, and I think he was off the bike in second place or something, and then kind of blew up a little bit on the run. But I mean, if he's going to be racing, he trains down in LA, so it's just a drive for him. I mean, he'll be solid on the bike. He'll just be a little bit behind out of the water.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm waiting. I mean, he obviously has a great bike, so it'll just depend if he can pull up that run together.
Yeah, I think he's got some more kind of development on that end. But he's going for it, so that's good. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to look past like Appleton, Alexander, Reed, Potts. Like I feel like those are 4 names you're going to hear a lot of on Sunday.
It'll be interesting to see if Potts can show some 70.3 speed versus some of these top names. I mean, he had what 70.3 did he just do that he won, right?
Coeur d'Alene.
Coeur d'Alene, and he beat Hoffman. Was Hoffman there?
Yeah, Hoffman was 4th.
Okay. But then, like between Tim Reed and Tim Don and Bazone and Appleton and Alexander, it'll see if he has that that top-notch speed that he needs for a 70.3 still.
Right.
So.
I mean, Tim Reed too. I mean, he just came off. He won in Port Macquarie at the beginning of May. So he probably had a bit of downtime and then is getting back into shape. So, we'll see how his turn of speed is as well. It's kind of hard. You got to rev back up to I say speed in quotation marks of 70.3, but it is. I mean, it's hard racing. I mean, it's like a double Olympic distance. I mean, those guys go real hard on the bike.
Yeah, talking about speed now, I really want to remember what Nicola Spirag ran. And her other 70.3 she did. Didn't she just do Norway? I don't know why.
Yeah, she ran a 1:18, I believe, and she had run a 1:14 at that other race. I heard Norway was really, really cold, and it finally warmed up on the run. I think people were, I think they even shortened the swim at that race because of the cold.
All right. Well, let's move on to we have another 70.3 over in Sweden.
Yeah, I think this is a new race. It's a one loop swim in a lake. It's in southern Sweden. So I was looking at the pictures. It looks gorgeous. The bike is one loop and it's got a few short climbs, but nothing major. It's described as fast. And then the run is 2.5 loops and it's flat and rolling and it kind of goes through the downtown area where the race is being held. So it'll be kind of well spectated. Looks like a great course.
Yeah. I mean, on the men's side, you got Frederick Van Leerden. Dreets is on the list. Timo Brock. Um, Obviously, a lot of more Europeans that I don't even know who they are. But
James Kanama is racing along with Jody Swallow. When we talk about the women, she'll be there too. So he just came off a good performance at France. Number 26, Mike Ergos Gross is good. Yeah, but I would look Frederick Van Leerd is coming back from that. He broke his collarbone at a race on the Canary Islands and had a solid France. And I'm sure he's just getting fitter by the day. So, I mean, 70.3 isn't his greatest distance, but I'm sure he'll be up there. I mean, Dreets is always, I mean, he was second at Oceanside and oh God, did he?
at Galveston.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just lighting up the bike splits. So he's someone to, I think, look out for. He's probably my favorite because he can run too. It's not like his run is bad.
Oh yeah,
all.
I mean, what he got beat by Sanders both times. I mean, that's right now that's basically undefeated this year. So so shit.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd all be happy not to count Sanders.
Yeah, but yeah, on the women's side, there's Swallow, like you mentioned.
Asa Ludstrom, strong athlete. She's Swedish, so she probably want to win at home. The Finnish girl, 58, she was the one who ran really well biked and ran and won Ironman South Africa. Kind of surprise, we didn't pick her for sure. So now we know her name. She's someone to look out for. She'll be moving up once they hit dry land. And Jody, she had that great performance in Cairns, have to see how her recovery is going, but she's definitely on the rebound after the elbow fracture at Ironman South Africa.
Yep. All right, let's come back to United States and finish off. We're gonna do a Rev3 race, Williamsburg. It's a female only race, Olympic distance. And the start list definitely has a couple names on there that everybody should recognize. So both the Wosners are on there. Ellie Salthouse is on there, and ITU Aaron Jones is on the list too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a good race. This is Beck Wassner's first race back after having her second child, her son. So I'm sure she's excited to get back out there. And the race is going to be hot and humid. I mean, they're starting at 7 a.m., but I mean, it's still going to be just sticky. Luckily, the run is shaded, so it kind of goes on a path through the woods. So a asphalt path, but a path. So that'll be helpful. Ellie won the Knoxville Rev3. So she's kind of my favorite for this. She's so strong on the swim and the bike. I think, Aaron Jones, I don't know, she's used to the draft legal biking. So I don't know how strong her TT bike will be.
Yeah, but definitely should be an interesting race. I like how the Rev3 is splitting it up, giving a little opportunity for the women to showcase what they have, and then the men to showcase what they have at different races. So it's an interesting format this year for Rev3.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of doing what, Ironman is splitting the Whistler and Lake Placid races. And I think that makes sense. And Rev3 even just today announced a new race that they're doing in the Dominican Republic. And it looked really nice. Beautiful down there.
All
there
right.
you go.
Any final comments there, Emily? Anything you want to chat about?
No, we'll be back next week to talk about Challenge Roth and I think the Hamburg race. And there's Tizzy Varas is this weekend. The world. It's not a world. It's a World Cup. It's where they do the heats and stuff. It's always a a wildly
Yes.
popular race. And there's a good after party from what I hear. So if you want to check out some of that racing, it'll be on the triathlon.org website. But
We also
it's
have
a good race.
and 70.3 Racine next weekend too. So we have a couple races actually next weekend.
Yep, picking back up after the holiday in North America.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us.